Software firm Forbidden Technologies has reported on the progress made in 2014. It was a year of record investment, but losses widened and sales dropped by 11%. Will last year's innovation pave the way for growth and shareholder rewards? Stephen Streeter is the chief executive. Now, Stephen, the share price has responded negatively to the progress updates, down 20%. What went wrong and what are you doing to rectify it?
Yes, a slightly leading question there. So obviously we raised a lot of money in 2013, and we invested a lot of that in 2014 to really overhaul our entire infrastructure. We launched our professional product 10 years ago, so you can imagine it's our first opportunity to really go through and make all the improvements that people have been asking for. So the main ones of those are we've changed the editor to be much more friendly to creatives, because our markets have moved to be much bigger than our original small niche market where we were used for logging, and now we're used for editing and sports particularly, much higher value market, and we're moving into that area in broadcast. And we've also updated all the administrative side, which we've called the MAM, to allow people to manage their own users, to allow support for resellers, which we didn't used to have, but we're now signing up resellers, and to allow people to manage their media, their users, getting material in and publishing, and obviously using the editor. So that's the MAM side. So these are major upgrades. It's obviously expensive to develop, but we didn't launch until 1st of December, which is a quiet period in broadcast. You can't really change people's system under their feet in the professional world. You have to wait for a quiet period, and in the run-up to Christmas is a quiet period. So none of the impact of that development work is reflected in last year's sales. In fact, our first chance to show that off was the trade show BVE, British Video Expo, in February this year, which is Britain's biggest video show. And there we had a 450% increase in user registrations on our stand. So you can see it's starting to have an impact along with the new marketing.
So I was going to ask you, is it all about marketing and getting the correct exposure so that people start talking about Foreseen and the app that's in development?
Yes, I think marketing is a real key here. In professional, it's been traditionally a very conservative market, face-to-face. People like a lot of consistency year on year. But with the new marketing program that we put in place, people are aware that actually there's a new way of doing things, which is to use the cloud. And we've had a huge increase, 507% increase in engagement on our website, for example. We're racing up the Google rankings for search terms. Foreseen websites at a 297% increase in traffic. So people are really starting to get into the idea that first of all we exist, which is really important, but also the product that we're selling, which is cloud-based, they're starting to realize that you can actually use the cloud. So when we were pushing into North America last year, we were slightly early. Lots of people have been talking about the cloud in the press and things like this, in the trade press particularly, saying how the world was going to move to the cloud. But we were a bit early last year. But obviously now we're another year on, the cloud's moved that much further forward. We have a lot more customers, a lot more demonstrations of our success. And the upcoming trade show, NAB, which is in Las Vegas, it's the world's biggest television show, I think we'll see on the professional side that people have moved on a long way since a year ago.
So, but the thing is, will this increased footfall on the website, and will all these people sort of eyeballing you at the trade shows, will this translate into revenues? Will you be profitable in 12 months' time when we next speak?
Well, that's hard to be absolutely certain, but what we do know is, for example, at BVE, we closed our first deal on a stand that we had done in 10 years. So people come to our stands now a lot more ready to sign up, because the marketing's prepared the ground.
And this is Foreseen. Are they signing up to Foreseen?
Yes, this is signing up to Foreseen. Talking about professional at the moment. In the consumer side, that is a much more marketing-based proposition. So with Eva, for example, we launched our Register app as a pre-release almost of our full social network app, video social network app, Eva. And we very quickly got to 5,000 users who just signed up for the Eva app to register. And that's as a result of our Eva website, eva.co, and a mobile website, our Facebook page. We have a huge number of likes. We've had over 5 million unique people have seen the Eva brand.
But when are you going to launch the app? I mean, they've registered for it, but it's not there yet.
The app's not there. It's in beta at the moment. We'll launch it when it's the perfect product, because that's what Eva's all about.
But will a product ever be perfect? Is it not nice for you to launch it and then invite the community to give criticism and to be part of its evolution?
Yes, so that's what the beta program is for, in fact. So we have users internally and externally who are using it and giving feedback. And when they all agree that it is absolutely beautiful and perfect, we'll launch it. But it's nearer than you think, because it is actually possible to make a perfect app. And we are demonstrating that with Eva.
So in terms of the money made from Foreseen, and do people pay, is it a one-off annual fee, or do subscribers pay a monthly fee? I'm thinking about recurring income.
Yeah, Foreseen is recurring income. They pay monthly, and in sports they can also pay daily. So obviously in broadcast post-production we have a lot of content. The big productions might have 4,000 hours of material, so we make up from volume. But in sports, they pay for the real-time nature. You can have a live sporting event. You can edit it as it happens. You could be 5,000 miles away from the event with the material uploaded live. You can edit it as it happens, and you can publish it straight to the website or mobile app, mobile page, or to YouTube. So that gives that immediacy in sports. We charge 50 times the rate in sports as we charge in broadcast post because of that immediacy. So the amount we charge depends on the use case. We're also bringing in a new consumer editor, which will be simpler to use than Foreseen, which is obviously aimed at professionals with, very difficult constraints, which we obviously meet. But
you're bringing in an awful lot. But surely this is going to increase your expenses, because you had record expenses last year. How are you going to reduce this? And if you reduce expenses, is it at the cost of innovation?
Well, the expenses last year, where we did a surge to get ahead of the game, really. So we spent last year doing a one-off renovation of our product, which is 10 years old. And so, for example, in development, we tripled the number of developers. We've now halved that again. We're back more or less to our normal level of developers. So that saved a lot. In North America, we've restructured that. So we're not paying for our West Coast team anymore. In fact, they set up as a reseller, so they'll be sharing the revenue with us, as resellers do. Our East Coast team's doing well. We have multiple productions there. So our cost base this year, we expect to be £1 million less than last year, but the run rate is even lower than that because of the beginning of this year. There's some continuation as we've been finishing off things from last year.
So
the cost base has come down quite a lot.
What is unique about your products compared to sort of Adobe, which is packaging up suites of offerings to the professional and the less professional market?
So just to give you an idea, we actually run in the cloud. So there's no real Adobe product. Although they have a product called Creative Cloud, it's only really the logon that runs in the cloud. So you have to download the video to edit it. So imagine if you had 5,000 hours of video in your production, and then you had to download it onto your onto your laptop before you could start editing it. It would take you years to download it. Whereas we actually operate in the cloud so that you can edit material in the cloud, all in real time. That's particularly useful if you're, say, one of these sports contracts where people are uploading live content into the cloud, and then they may be uploading it in Madrid, but they're editing it in London, and they can edit it as it arrives. So that is a functionality that's not available on any of the other systems because they are not cloud systems.
Okay.
This very, very low-cost, efficient way of handling high volumes of material for real time. And of course, we have all the integration with web and mobile distribution, which is very big in sports.
Stephen, the final question is cash management. It sounds like cash management is now key for you. Do you have enough money for the coming 12 months?
Yes, I mean, we've invested a lot last year as we had raised the money to do, but it's worth pointing out that the amount of cash we had at the beginning of the year was more than we've had pretty well any other year in our existence except the year before. So we actually, compared with what we've needed to achieve where we've got with our technology, we are much, much more cash. And the new mass markets we're aiming for are much lower cost acquisition than the professional market as well, with all sorts of marketing techniques for getting at these mass market users. So much more immediate sales. So in broadcast, there's a typically 6 to 9 month lead time between someone seeing the product and deciding to use it for a real production, just because of the cycle of the productions. But in consumer, they can see an ad and they can buy it the same day, can buy it straight away.
Okay,
So we're
sorry.
much closer.
All right, Stephen, this has to be brief now, but the share price did plummet on the back of the news. Do you think that investors are just not getting the big picture?
I think some of them are, and some of them are just looking at the loss and not realizing that that was actually the money we raised is going to go through the P&L. So that's going to come out as a loss, at least the first year particularly. And now we have these new products launched at the end of the year, so not impacting last year's sales. I think the surprises are more likely to be on the upside this year.
Stephen Streeter, Chief Executive at Forbidden Technologies, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much.